Hi, my name's Anna Runkle, also known as the Crappy Childhood Fairy. And if you grew up with abuse and neglect in your childhood, chances are good that you've suffered more than your share of broken relationships. Now, sometimes the break is caused by the other person. But today, I want to talk about broken relationships where we played a role in damaging a relationship with someone we care about, someone we do want a relationship with. That is one of the hardest side effects of trauma in childhood, is that being close to people and working through conflicts can be really fraught with us. A lot of us didn't have good role models, and because our perception may have been damaged, maybe because there was a lot of denial or neglect by our parents, we sometimes have a hard time discerning when people are hurt, whose fault it is, and how to work it out. When you don't have that, the default might be to just run away or blow up at the person, and then we find ourselves avoiding conflict as long as we can, just so that doesn't happen, until things get so bad that we do explode, and then we run the risk of losing the relationship. Does that ever happen to you? And here's the good news. We don't have to do that anymore. Instead, we can learn a little self-regulation and some practical skills to mend relationships that are broken. Now, I'm not just talking about forcing an apology or stuffing your feelings, and I'm also not talking about confronting people about things they've done. There may be a time and a place for that, but right now I'm going to focus on the inside job, on our own personal role in conflict we've had, and I'm going to show you how to really get to the bottom of the hurt and respond to it in a way that lets your relationship heal and even grow stronger. Now, obviously, not every broken relationship is ready for repair. If someone has abused you and there's still a threat of abuse, especially physical violence, don't be a martyr. Don't walk into it. Now, in the case of abuse or a relationship that's really damaging for you, the fix is to stay away. And that's what you would have done in the past if you hadn't been at the effect of early trauma. So you get to do it now. What we're talking about in this video are relationships that are worth repairing, or where, at the very least, you want to get rid of the bad feeling that you hurt someone and that you never dealt with it. So let's just take a hypothetical situation where you might have hurt somebody's feelings. Let's say you trashed your friend behind her back, like said something negative and it got back to her, and you heard that it got back to her, and you know that she knows, but you haven't talked to her about it yet. You did something hurtful and you want to keep the relationship. So here's what you do. Okay, first, you take some time if you can. If there is no time, you can make an apology in the moment. That's fine. But if you have time, you can use that time well to get clear first about what you did, what you want to apologize for. This is something you might want to run by a friend you trust, someone who has good relationships with other people, to make sure that you've got it right, not too much, not too little in the responsibility department. Now, in this case, in our hypothetical example, it was saying negative things about a friend behind her back. You may have had your reasons for feeling that way, but saying it to other people was the part that hurt your friend. Now, this brings me to the second thing, and I recommend you write your fears and resentments about the situation. This is the specific technique I teach for calming your mind and clearing out the sort of extraneous emotions and the hamster wheel thoughts that we have with complex PTSD, and getting more in touch with what's important and real for you. And if you haven't learned how to do this yet, you can link to instructions down in the description section below. When you're not in that reactive mode, you have more capacity to see what's going on and see what needs to be done about it, if anything. And you'll probably find you have more empathy for the other person and for yourself. And that's a good thing. That's going to narrow your communication with them to something very specific and hopeful and constructive, and not just a big angry outburst. And this is going to help you when you're trying to communicate with the person you hurt. There's now the possibility that you can bring them a little more calm and healing too, just by your demeanor, and you'll be able to talk to them and really hear them. And this is the sweet spot when you want to heal a broken relationship. So you've identified the harm you did, you've gotten rid of free-floating fear and resentment with the writing. The next thing to do is to write down what you did and kind of detail it. And I'll give you an example in a minute. So you write down what you did, and then how you would feel if it were done to you, if a friend, say, gossiped behind your back and spilled a secret of yours. And then you write down what you intend to do differently from now on. And you want to be honest with yourself about this. Don't be unrealistic and just say what you think you should say. Now you're ready to make your apology. So you contact the person you hurt and you let them know you'd like to talk to them about something that you did and that you feel bad about. And you can say something like, I'd like to apologize to you about something. And then depending on how broken the relationship is, they may or may not agree to see you about this. You don't want to push them, but try to do this personally if you can. Don't send a text when you could actually call them. Don't do it on the phone when you could do it in person. As direct as possible will give you the best chance of a good, clean, thorough apology that results in connection between you. Now, you might be asking right now, but what if they also did something to me? Shouldn't they acknowledge that too? Can't I ask them to do that? And it's true that in almost every conflict, both parties play a role. This is a special situation, though, where for right now, you're only going to deal with your own side of it. This is what I call a clean apology. You only deal with your side and you leave their role and the problems that go with that to them. And you don't say anything about it. Now, in my experience, most people never will apologize for major hurts. But if they want to or not, that is up to them. And anyway, an apology that you demanded from somebody, it's never any good. It's not satisfying. They're like, okay, fine, I'm sorry. And maybe you're not ready to be close to a person if they don't give a sincere apology. That part's up to you. But you can at least right now clear up your role in the current problem and just stop feeling guilty. So when you do connect with them, here's what you want to say. First, you tell them what you did. You just say, I heard that you know that I told other people the secret you shared with me, that you used to shoplift. I don't know, I'm just making this up. And that I broke my promise to you. You tell it to them totally clean without any excuses like, I was under a lot of stress or I was tired. You don't do excuses. You don't bring in their part in it like, you were saying all that stuff about me, and you just don't bring their part in. And then you go ahead and you tell them, because you've done your homework, how you would feel if that were done to you. So you might say, I know that if somebody did that to me, I would feel angry and betrayed, and I'd feel worried what everybody thought about me. Now, in this part, it's important to demonstrate that you get it, that you understand how it feels to have that done. So don't try to minimize it. Don't make it bigger either, but make it honest. Show that you get it. Your empathy here is the one thing that can really help the other person relax that hardened heart and listen to you and open up to the possibility of healing the relationship. They know you get it. And then you tell them, I'm sorry. And you let them know how you intend to change your behavior in the future. You can say, I'm working hard to change this habit of mine and never talk negatively about friends behind their back. And I want to be a trustworthy friend for you, and I want to be that person for myself. And then you say, I hope you can forgive me. Now the hardest part comes. You totally let go of what happens then. You just honestly give your apology. And sometimes people will hug you and say, it's okay. Or sometimes they'll say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't even know there was a problem. Or you might fear that they'll get angry. But if you make a good apology where you don't make excuses and you demonstrate that you get it about what hurt them, then the worst that's going to happen is likely nothing. Nothing will happen. The relationship might not change, but you'll feel better. Now, it goes without saying, if the person doesn't know you hurt them, like if you gossiped and they don't know you did that, it could actually hurt them to try to apologize, to tell them that this happened. So take some discernment. You can clean up your behavior, but don't use apologies as an excuse to hurt people. Don't let that happen. The purpose of apologies is to heal relationships if we can, to help people feel better about themselves. So even when you do a great job apologizing, sometimes it doesn't go as planned. And you can let go of that. You're making the apology for yourself, for your own peace of mind, and to be able to hold your head up and know that, yeah, you made a mistake, but you cleaned up your mess afterwards. So go set yourself free. Go run out there today. And if there's somebody that you've been putting off apologizing to, now you know how to do it. So keep practicing, and soon you'll have healed relationships all around your life. It can't help but get better when you do this. And if you don't believe me, just try it.